Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome once again to another session with the Denome Camera Club. It's nice to see everybody here again, nice and early. Let's say a few hellos just to make sure that we know who's about. Oh yes, I see front seat today went to Jill, so I've just got to say, because I always get rid of the chat, and young Paul, who isn't with us this evening, he will be able to hear, even if he can't read, that Jill got the front seat and he's going to keep it warm for him for another year. And I must admit, Graham, you seem to be slipping just lately. It does seem that you're a little bit further down the line, so it's just not good enough. So a few welcomes. Hi, Jill. Good evening to you. Graham H was next into the auditorium. Diva was very early this evening as well. Good evening, Diva. Let's just go on, scroll down a little bit. David Williams, welcome, sir. Welcome. Hi, all. Dave Williams on here for the first time. Well, we're very welcome to see you, David. So, hope you enjoy this evening's entertainment. Tony, hi, Tony. I hope that you're getting to grips with that new little piece of kit that you've got. I'm sure that you'll be training us all how to use it shortly. So hopefully it'll be great. Let me just do something. So who else have we got in the auditorium? We've got Sue. Good evening, Sue. Welcome to Sue. And who else have we got? Oh, I shot up a few too many there. Jim, good evening, young man. Evening all. Looks like I'm up in the cheap seats again. Well, no, you're not too bad. You're just on about the second or third row, so not too bad at all. Doreen, good evening, Doreen. Yeah, missed the front seat. I'm trying to think, Doreen, if you ever have been in the front seat. I'm not convinced about that. So, right, who else is with us this evening? Peter, good evening, Peter. Welcome to this evening's images, etc. Richard, hi, Richard. Let's see what you put. Oh, I hope that your young lady wife is on the road to recovery, and we all send our wishes to you. Sue, going away. Not following that one, Sue, but I'll catch up later. Room will be stretches legs. Richard Fox, good evening, Richard. All the way from the east, from where I'm sitting. But the big C, I'm afraid. Right. So yeah, I'm just trying to read that into that problem there, Richard. Hopefully nothing serious. I can see the other messages. Best wishes from us all. Everybody's put their comments, but best wishes to you and the lady wife. So take care of her. Good evening, Ray. No doubt Ray's with a drop of wine in hand. So Just see anybody else. Michael Hubbard. Michael Hubbard, good evening and welcome to you. Who else? Dane, good evening, Dane. Dane's just dropped in. Caroline's just dropped in. And I'm going to leave you now just for a couple of seconds because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking and I forgot to bring a drink of water in. So I should be 2 seconds and I'll be back to you. Right, good evening everybody, and just to prove it, it is water. So, delicious. Right, who else have we got just popped in whilst I've just gone out for that drink? We've got Bob. Good evening, Bob. Bob's no doubt got his pint in hand. Michael Hughes, good evening. Good evening. No wine, it's a school. All right. A dry night tonight. Caroline and Dave, hi both of you. So welcome to you both. Missed that one. Evening, Gail. We're going down the list quite quickly now, so we've got Gail down there. So Viv, good evening, Viv. Hope that you're managing to get out for a walk or two with the camera, getting used to it a little bit more, hopefully anyway. It certainly, I must admit, they're a very nice piece of kit, so let me just get rid of that. So we'll just have a bit of a change of scenery for a second. Dane, we've said hello to Dane. Dunham in hand. Not quite with that one, Dane, but never mind. Jill, Doreen, Cam, hi, Gail, Graham, Bob. Oh, coffee only this evening, Bob. Right, fair enough. I'll just say a few hellos to the people that are usually with us. I'm not sure whether they are this evening, but we've got a couple of new members who have joined in the last couple of weeks. And one young lady is called Jill, another Jill, and one young lady is called Vera. So welcome to Jill and Vera. I hope that you can see us okay, etc. Another couple that's usually watching is Jan and Crispine. So welcome to you both and all. If everybody's of those people I've just mentioned are watching, welcome to you. It's building up. Mark, good evening, Mark. Pleased you could make it this evening. One thing I must say is that I'm going to get straight on at 7 o'clock with the images, etc. But one thing I must say is that you've done extremely well with the images. There's some absolute crackers there, so I think you're all going to be well pleased this evening with the images. Don't know what it sounds like out there, but I've got myself a new mic. I've put the old 20-year-old one into reserve position, so I'm just hoping that you can all hear me as well as see me this evening. So Welcome to everybody. Right, we're about up to numbers, and everybody's been good enough to join in nice and early. So I am going to get on, as I say, quite early and just start the evening, just so that we can make sure, or I can make sure that we can get through them all. I'm just doing a couple of things. I'll just get rid of myself there because I don't want myself across any of the pictures. We'll just put that up so that I can start. Right, so what we asked you about, I suppose it must have been 6 weeks ago now, to certainly a month anyway, to send us in all of your favourite 6's. And that was 6 of your favourite images. Something that possibly wasn't your favourite images, that wasn't your all-time favourites, but something that meant something to you. And these images that you will see tonight are those images. Now, just before I start, I do have let me just count, 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 little apologies. So the first apology is that unfortunately, because of the amount of entries we've had, and the amount of entries is approximately 25 members have put their images in and write-ups. But unfortunately, when I did a little bit of a run through, some of the write-ups were a bit long. So if when I get to your write-up you think, well, there's a bit missing there, yes, I'm sorry about that. I have cut some bits out from most people's images so that we can get it all in tonight. So apologies for that. The next one is, and I'm going to blame all of you for this, apologies if I don't get some of these pronunciations right. I'm not good at foreign languages, so that's not a good start. So anything that's got Latin names or anything, I do apologise when I get it wrong. And also, if I get halfway through and I start going like this because I can't read, well, I should be reading a little bit quicker because at the end of the day, I shall realise that I'm getting a bit behind. So anyway, without further ado, the images are in the order as they were sent in. So they're just as sent in. So the first person that sent their images in was young Grahame Holliday and his favourite 6 images. So his first images and what he says, let me just click a button or two because I need that bigger. He says, I make no apology for them being mainly railway photos, but not just engines. I've shown landscape images mainly, and then a smiley face. Fire glow on firemen. This was really a grab shot. Just shows if you are alert and have your camera ready, you can capture an image you might have otherwise missed. I like the atmosphere created by the fire glow, steam and the fireman's movement. Taken Canon 6D Mark II. The second image is 926 steams through North York moors. Here I wanted to feature the heather in flower. Having chosen this spot, I composed the image and waited for the train. Unfortunately, as it was travelling downhill, 1 in 49, towards Goathland, there was very little exhaust to be seen as the engine was not working hard. Canon 6D Mark II. This one is Witherslack Hall at Darnholme. Plenty of exhaust as the engine works hard up the incline. I was also blessed with gorgeous light, although parts of the carriages are in shade. The curve in the track gives a good dynamic to the scene. Olympus M1 Mark II. So this is when Grahame got his got his new camera, so we're seeing some of the Olympus pictures. This next one is private charter train. Leading lines, literally. Something I am often including. Well, the subject lends itself well to this. The engine house, cafe, balcony. The charter train seen here can be booked for a private family or corporate event. Prices start from £2,650. Was going to book this for my 65th birthday this year, but the pandemic put a stop to that. Only kidding. No, you're not, Graham. You really was going to do it, weren't you? You would really have liked to have done that. Anyway, love the colours and the S-shaped line. That was taken Canon 80D. Lincoln Cathedral Nave. A little older than Graham requested, but one of my all-time favourites. Much stronger in black and white, very symmetrical, and helped to give scale by the lady walking towards the camera. Canon 80D on tripod. Dandelion seed head, and here we go with the names. Taraxacum. Oh, sounded good, didn't it? Something a bit different for me. Photographed during lockdown, like most of us, with time on our hands. I started experimenting. Olympus M1 Mark II. Focus stacked in camera. Yeah, Graham sent in a bonus picture, so this is your bonus picture. Chromapia, another symmetry picture. Also much stronger in black and white. Not technically perfect, with very difficult side lighting at 6:16 a.m. with some blown out sky and nearly black under the seating. But I still love the image. Had to wait for the bin men to get out of the way. Canon 6D Mark II. I've always liked that image, Graham. Right, the next person who sent them in was Ray. Good evening, Ray. Welcome to you, and here's your images. The first one is, and one or two are Ray's. I tried to cut them down, but I couldn't do it without too much chopping. On this particular image, I've not got a title, so it may come up in a short while. I've been into photography for about 35 years now, and it started mainly because I liked my holidays, and this was the best way to keep a record. In 2008 I moved up to Lincolnshire, and as retirement grew closer, so in August 2004 I joined DCC, Dunham Camera Club, of course. I saw other people's photos and started to learn a bit more. There were various competitions, but like most, it was a little apprehensive to enter. Or he was a little bit apprehensive to enter. Anyway, that December monthly competition was sunsets, and I thought I'd got dozens of those, so I entered this one. And it won. Thanks, GD. He was a judge. This was taken 2010, Mexico, Olympus E500. The second photo is probably my all-time favourite photo. I did enter it into a competition and the judge thought it was okay. But we don't always take photos for the judge, do we? Pardon, Ray? You should do. Rwanda in 2011 to see the mountain gorillas. I volunteered to go high and my wife wished to visit lower down. One small problem, no one told the gorillas. As we all started off, my troop, the Umubano group, told you I'd get some of them wrong, started to come down, and my wife's group started to go up. She finished her visit about 2 to 3 hours after us, but that's another story. Taken on a Nikon 5.1. I've always liked silhouette photos, and this is probably my favourite. Now I can see a lot of noise in the sky, but that I don't see as a great problem. This was taken on the world's longest teak bridge at dawn. I saw this young lady walking along and I grabbed this shot. It was heavily cropped, taken in Mandalay, Myanmar in 2013, Nikon 5.1. Although I entitled it Trotting By, The shadow was cast by a statue of a man on a horse which was very stationary. This was quite liked in competition. Taken in April 2015 in London. Progressed now to Nikon 7.1. There was a competition for still life. Sure, I've taken snaps at parties or of family gatherings, but nothing like still life. Sorted out lighting, and this was the best result. This photo also did alright in the DCC competitions, and I've actually sold it twice. Only got £20 in total, more than I've got out of my images of this type. I only got £20 in total, so can't buy a new camera yet. The forks are on a black marble kitchen chopping board with black card behind. Nikon 7.1 on a tripod. In my case, I have the world's most popular phone camera, apparently, the iPhone. So I decided to find out how it really works, especially as DCC decided it was going to host a camera alternative evening. Anyway, I found out it has a very useful feature called live photo that is particularly good for waterfalls and fireworks, as it gives the same effect as long exposure. This one I entered for the camera alternative evening, and Jim gave it first place. 2018 iPhone SE. Right, we're on to the next one, which is Peter Curry. Good evening, Peter. Thank you very much for sending your entries in. Image number 1 is Helmsley in the spring. This image brings back many happy memories of family and friends from school days through to the present. We try and visit 2 or 3 times each year, and I use it as a starting point for a day round Sutton Bank top, taken with camera EOS 2000D. Image 2, the Vale of York from Sutton Bank top. En route, I look down onto the famous white horse and walk under the... I'll start again on that one. I look down on the famous white horse and walk under, taking off gliders, being aero-towed to soaring altitude. God, it took me some getting my tongue round. I take in the view stretching out for 80 miles from the hills of Whitby to Simon's Seat near Bolton Abbey, taken with a Sony DSC HX 400V. Image 3, Reds in the Trees. Now, I must admit there's 2 of these pictures this evening, which I will make a little bit of a comment on. When you think of the title of this one, Reds in the Trees, I instantly thought it was going to be a red squirrel photograph, but no, it wasn't. Reds in the Trees. This image highlights one of the pleasures of living where we have for several years and watching the Reds. From the taking in of the new team members through many practice flights to full display seasons, and all from our kitchen window or back garden. Canon EOS 2000D. I like this picture. Sorry, baby crocodile. I like this picture. It reminds me that Woodside Wildlife Park has been a family favourite for many years. We, with our family and more recently our grandchildren, have had a lot of pleasure watching the animals and birds and development of the park over the years. A well-run, happy place. Sony DSC HX 400V. Calm, peaceful lake at Wisby. Again, a family favourite for many years, spanning children and grandchildren. It has been a great place to get them involved in nature and, on occasions, to burn off some of their seemingly endless supply of energy. Good for the mind, soul and body. Taken with Canon EOS 2000D. Jet turbine helicopter in smart new livery. Real or a model? It is in fact a world-class radio-controlled scale jet turbine-driven helicopter. At the annual gathering of scale model helicopters near Melton Mowbray, it represents the peak of my other hobby and is always an excellent inspirational day out. Taken with the Sony again. Right, on to myself. Thank you, Graham, for sending in these pictures. That's all right, Graham. That's very good of you. Thank you very much. I haven't put any notes on mine, so I'll just go through them. This one was taken a bit before lockdown with Bob, and we was up at Walesby. I like this one specifically because I like the lighting and I like the glow of the sky as well. Lovely image, taken with the Olympus M1X. The next one, this small tortoise shell, I've always liked this image. I like the background, the way it's been taken, and it's just, to me, represents this butterfly on these thistles. Now, originally, I must admit there was quite a lot more thistle in on the left-hand side, but it had to go. This, believe it or not, was taken with a 600 lens with a 1.4 converter on, handheld, with the old Canon 1DX, and I just love the image. Possibly one of my favourites. Love going up to Scotland, as you all know, and I had an encounter for 2 or 3 hours with the ptarmigan up there, and I've got dozens and dozens and dozens, and let's change it to hundreds of images of ptarmigan, all looking very similar, but I absolutely love them. So one of the other favourite images of mine, this is just coming out of the winter season, so hence it's beginning to beginning to get its colour back. The next one is the great crested grebe, and the great crested grebe is another one of my favourite birds, and this one just happened to dive, so I just went forward a few meters, it popped up, and I just grabbed the shot. I just love the water on it and the colours and the background. Motocross, I have taken thousands and thousands of pictures of motocross bikes. We were, when I say we, my company, Lynx Photo, were the official photographers for Armthorpe Motor Park, and so just spent every Saturday there during the winter taking pictures of these and selling them. So that's the best bit about it, selling them. So just one that represents that. Another one, don't know as I shall get this year, the gannets up at Bempton. So, but I just love this image, the mating, tapping of the bills, etc. Lovely birds and lovely background on this one. The hoverfly, I think it's hoverfly. Just a nice image. It just happened to come out really, really well. Love the image. So there it is. Taken with the Olympus. Excuse me for a slurp. Before I choke. This is another one. Went with Grahame Holliday to a night where we were in a repair shed with the steam engines, and we got some great images, even though the judge said that the guy wasn't even looking at what he was supposed to be doing. I still like the picture. So like somebody said earlier, judges just don't know what they're talking about, do they? Right, that's my selection, so we'll go straight on to Sandra's. Thank you as well, Sandra, for sending your images in. Just got a bit of a long introduction on yours. Couldn't cut it down without cutting it all out, so here we go. A look at Curtin in Lindsay between 2010 2020. Sandra moved to Lincolnshire from Berkshire in 2008. I've had many cousins who live around the Grimsby and Cleethorpes areas, and I've been visiting them all my life. But I didn't know this side of the country. I've enjoyed taking photographs since, and I was 7 years old and thought it would be photographing since I was 7 years old, and thought it would be interesting to record changes and events around Curtin and Lindsay as the years passed. None of these photos have been put into the Towns and Villages folder, so if you have looked at that, you will see different ones tonight. Straight into it, snowboarding down the church steps in 2010, Canonixus, Mount Pleasant Windmill in 2013, before the sails were lost in the 2015 storm, Panasonic DMC SZ7. This was the tour of Britain which came through the town in 2017, Panasonic again. Many events are centred around the church, and the Christmas Tree Festival is held every other year. This was taken in 2018, Nikon D3100. Whoops, sorry, moved one too fast. There is a vibrant community here which includes many clubs and annual events like the Christmas Fair of 2019. Once again, Nikon D3100. Jill's pictures. So thank you very much, Jill, for sending yours in. Although there are several new developments around the town, it is possible to find a derelict building within a few minutes. Walk of the town centre. This used to be a bakery and was taken earlier this year. I didn't read that all correctly at all, but I hope you all made sense of it. Sorry. Why have I got two of that? Oh no, I do apologise. That last picture is the one of Divas. So I do apologise about that. So I wondered about walking around town and derelict things, but I was looking at something wrong. Right, sorry about that. On to the next one. Jill, right, sorry Jill. These are my favourite images. Maybe a surprise to some, given my liking of dereliction. Now you could see why I thought the last picture was something to do with Jill. And decay. Over the last 3 or 4 years, I have been on 2 Scottish holidays and 1 Yorkshire photography holiday with Grahame. That Grahame runs. And it's thanks to those that I've started to broaden my photographic interests. I'm now interested in wildlife, landscape and light painting, long exposure photography. So my selection this evening is from the latest set of images that I've taken, with only one of my older derelict shots amongst them. They may be far from being technically perfect, but I'm chuffed with the results, so here goes. Bowfiddle Rock. I took this image on a stunning part of the Scottish coastline near Port Knocky in early March this year. It was a bit of a climb down the cliff to get to it, but well worth it, even with the climb back up. I'm pleased with the detail in the rocks and the way the light is picking out the contrast in the main rock, plus the long exposure smoothing out the water over the smaller rocks, but still showing some of the pebbles underneath. Olympus EM1 Mark II. Snow bunting in flight. This image was taken at the Cairngorm ski lift station. We were in the car park after taking photos around the ski lift and cafe area, and we were on our way back to the car when we spied these lovely birds on the snowy bank at the rear of the car park. Although not pin sharp, I like this image because I managed to get the snow white without being blown out. The white of the bird against the snow correct, and I love the shape of the wings and the sense of movement. Olympus EM1 Mark II. Lapwing calling out a warning. This shot was taken during our trip to the Yorkshire Moors in May 2019. We were driving over the moors on our way to the coast and came upon this very vocal, it was very vocal as well, bird at the side of the road. Grahame kindly stopped and I took the shot across Viv, who was sitting next to me, and through the car window. Just love the colours on the lapwing. Pleased with the diffused background too. The camera was the old Canon M5 mirrorless. Blowing in the wind. This was taken on one of my lockdown official exercise walks with my dog. I really like this because of the pastel-like colours and the effect of the wind on the poppy and the surrounding grasses. Olympus again. Corgarth Castle, Strathdon, Scotland, taken early March this year, stands out lovely in the surrounding snow. I love this image for its simplicity and the feeling of isolation. I'm sure it may have inspired different feelings if I'd seen it without the snow. Olympus again. So here it is, the abandon, the dereliction. So here it is. One of my very many dereliction images, but my favourite because it has the first one of my images to be chosen to represent the club in the LPA print battles competition. Didn't do too badly either. Despite one or two judges' disbelief the red shoe was actually there, it was on the floor to the side of the window. I just placed it on the windowsill. It's one of life's mysteries. Why is there ever just one shoe? It was taken with my first DSLR camera not long after joining Dunome CC. Prior to this, I had a Panasonic bridge camera. This was taken with the old Canon EOS 450D. So we're on to Caroline's pictures now. Thank you very much once again, Caroline, for sending your pictures in. Right, this is where we would all love to be at the moment. No, don't diversify. Maldives Beach, 2008. The island was quite secluded and I wanted to have an image which had the white sands with fewer footsteps to show the exclusivity of it all. Happened to have a terrific tropical storm just after. Canon 400D. Ras Mohammed National Park, Egypt, 2015. We're out snorkeling and the colours of the sea were staggered on all levels of blue, and this image shows it at its best. Very little editing, it was incredibly blue. Canon 50D. Autumn colours. An afternoon walk. The late autumn sun was hazy with the colours of the leaves. Just gave me a warm autumn image. Canon 50D. Derbyshire Blossom, 2006. Shot as a normal image of blossom. I edited this in Photoshop to turn it into an infrared image for part of my image portfolio at college. Fujifilm Fine Pics. Behind the Post, Venice, 2014. At carnival time it was packed. I spotted this lady alone around the fruit market. She spotted me and I had a second in which to grab an image. She played to the camera perfectly. Canon 50D. Glencoe, Scotland, 2010. Taken in the winter of 2010 when we had a lot of snow. Excuse me. When we had a lot of snow. I've lost my place. We love snow. This tree was in our garden in the bungalow in Scotland where I stayed with friends. 3 of us had tripods up and one person was running around the tree illuminating it enough to capture the hoarfrost that hadn't melted during the day. Canon 400D. Right, Alan Crossland. Thank you as well, Alan, for bringing in or sending in your images. Thank you very much. The first one, take a good look at this, folks. Laughing tree face. Just a silly fun photograph. The saying, why do you have a wooden face, comes to mind. Taken at Bradgate Park, Sony pocket camera. Yeah, you can see the face, certainly. Shot at dawn. Taken at the National Memorial Arboretum, a truly remarkable venue. I urge members to visit. During World War I, 360 British and Commonwealth soldiers were shot for desertion, cowardice, or even striking a senior officer. Very little, if any, defence was allowed. Post-traumatic stress disorder was not recognised as a medical condition until 1980. This statue on display was of Private Herbert Burden, executed by firing squad at Ypres, Ypres. Yes, sorry. In 1915, aged 17 years, Lumix G7. Dog owners beware. Ha ha. Just another silly, fun photograph reminding dog owners to clear up the dog poo. I took this pic of the poster when walking down the towpath at Torksey Lock looking for suitable narrowboats to photograph. Another of my many interests. Too many. Lumix G7. Bee orchid gets its name from its main pollinator. A species of bee, this orchid is self-pollinating in the UK. Found throughout the UK, but much scarcer in the north. I took this photograph at Wisby Nature Reserve last year, June-July time. June-July, best time to go as well. Members can contact me for directions to find it. The bee orchid is the county flower of Bedfordshire. Don't ask me why. Blue throat, small bird size of a robin. They are a passing migrant and are regarded as quite rare in Lincolnshire and the UK. Usually they tend to visit coastal areas and prefer thick vegetation and open ground, hence the photograph taken at Willow Tree Farm near Bourne, Links, Canon 760D. Well, it might have been the day that Jim and I went. We went there when it was there and got some pictures. Hang on, some pictures, hundreds of pictures. So, right, I'm just going to have a quick look at something. I shall be with you in 2 seconds. Yeah, no problem whatsoever. Right, back on to the next one. Grey Seal Pub. Just a photograph taken at Donanook Grey Seal Colony. Over 1,000 can be born in a good year. Nice venue to visit, but can get very crowded. Avoid weekends and school holidays. Mid-Oct, early November best. Canon 760D. Right, on to our chairman, Bob. Thank you very much, Bob, for sending your images in. We've got some nice ones. Once again, we are, and I think you'll all agree, we are getting some super images. Some absolutely crackers. So, right, this first one. Some of these write-ups of Bob's are a little long, so do bear with me, but I have cropped them down as well. But I couldn't get them any shorter. I could have chosen many bird pictures that all remind me of a particular day chasing birds. Yeah, you've been known for chasing birds, Bob. Right, moving on. This day we got Jim out of bed early, and along with GD we headed up north. After a morning on the moors, then Ecton Bridge on the River Esk, photographing dippers and grey wagtails. An obliging heron, we decided to go to Whitby to see if we could come across this rare bird everyone was talking about. We wandered aimlessly around, then a stout lady told us where to look, and she was spot on. We got our photos and a good day in good company. Bob's using Canon 5D Mark III. The Seated Man. This sculptor was on the moors above Castleton, again up there with GD on a very cold day. We decided to have a wander up there. It was quite a steep walk up to the top. Lucky we went when we did, and we got a few photos, because a few weeks later he was taken down and moved to Yorkshire Sculpture Park. I like this one because, to my mind, it's a great record shot from 2018. 5D again. These gates were made by hand by a chap called Arthur. Many years ago, he also made a pair of 5 to 6 times bigger, and they are at Stoneleigh Agricultural Centre. These were the template. They were in his shed for many years, and he was always going to put them up but never got around to it, so we erected them in his memory, and we also created a teaching apiary in his name. But this poor photo always reminds me of a good man, and I was lucky enough to get to know who I was lucky enough to get to know well. Canon 5D again. There are many photos from my trip to Africa, well, which we've seen lots of them, Bob, great ones as well. There are many photos from my trip to Africa I like, but this is one the judge didn't. It always reminds me of one very good day and some wonderful people we met at a village. The kids had just been told off by their mother, and told to sit them suddenly. I am pointing a camera at them, so hence the puzzled and bewildered look. They became my friend later when we produced some sweets. Canon 5D again. I do like black and white images, but I'm not always successful and have wasted millions of pixels practicing, but every now and then I get one I like, and this is one of them from a few months ago, taken at Spurn Point, Canon 1DX Mark II. And I remember another little bit that Bob put on that one that is going to go back and try and get it again. So my favourite photo is always the last half decent one which I've taken, and at the time of writing this is this one, and is the one until the next day, out which hopefully will be soon. That didn't sound right, but I hope you got it. I like the insects, but they are challenging for me. Down on your knees in dark grass or under a hedge, and the hardest part after trying to get settings on the camera right is to get back up on two legs. This one is a Chrysops relictus, twin-lobed deerfly. Also the research to the ID, some of them can be lengthy but enjoyable. That's IDing the insects. Canon 5D Mark III. Right, Viv, we're over to you now, my dear. So thank you once again to Viv and everyone else for getting their images in. Without further ado, Bee and Flower, a test shot with my new Olympus OMD 5.3. If it was a test shot, I wonder what your new ones are coming on like now that you've got used to it. I was playing around with my camera and liked the shape of the stem and the white flowers with the bee at the top and the dark background of leaves. Mysterious Lake, Canon 650D this time, taken at Hart's Own Park. One of my favourite photographs, as it does seem mysterious yet very peaceful. On the steps of the cathedral in Italy, early morning, Canon M5. The colours and age of the cathedral walls and the steps drew my attention, and later a man with his dog just sat in the right place. It's good when something goes right for you in photography, isn't it? Sparrowhawk and Prey, Canon 750D. The sparrowhawk with prey was in my garden when I came home. A great opportunity to take a photograph that I probably will never get again. Surviving in Polluted Stream, Canon M5, taken in some woods not far from home. The richly coloured polluted water and the lone plant with only a few leaves remaining caught my eye and told a story. Tony the Artist, Canon 750D. Tony is an artist in my village. I especially like this photo as he has an interesting face and a direct gaze, and he is also a good friend. Yeah, we've seen that before, and see, like you say, Viv, it's a very good picture. Right, the next one is Michael. So thank you very much, Michael, for sending your images in. Oh, I'm wondering where the notes is, but I have to read Michael's off a piece of paper, so do excuse me while I just grab that piece of paper. Right, heads and tails, taken on my way to Welton one afternoon. I stopped the car to take the hunt as it passed by. I decided to separate the hounds from the riders, and this was the result. Very nice. Missing. A composite. The chair was taken from another image, and also the dog. The dog, although no longer with us, belonged to my son. She was a lady called Molly. It brings back fond memories of her. Really looks nice. It just, everything falls right about it, doesn't it? One fine day. This is another composite. The landscape was taken at Red Hill Nature Reserve. The lady and the seagull were put in. The young lady came from Japan. I was able to give her a print of the image which she sent to her mother in Japan. This image was also used as a poster which I have included as image number 3A, so this next image. So that one is the poster. Works really well. The subject's just in the right place, isn't it? The next one, Quality Street, a composite comprising of over 50 layers entirely made up. Righto folks, work out where there's 50 layers. Well done, Michael. I am blowing my own trumpet here, but this got best print at NEMF one year. For those of you who don't know, NEMF is the North East Midlands Photographic Federation, and it's one of the main bodies of photographic organisations in the area. This one's called The Beach. Taken in North Devon, it was a lovely holiday with the family. As you can see, I tried to make the image a little different using Photoshop. I do like letterbox formats, and where I can, I use them. The Railway Children. Another composite. The landscape taken near Whitby. The children and railway line were put in. I am very fond of Whitby, so this influenced my choice. Read this image. Yep, very nice set, like everybody else's, Michael. Thank you very much. Just putting my piece of paper away because I've got another piece of paper in a short while because I couldn't copy the notes across. Right, the next one is Sean. Thank you very much indeed, Sean, for sending your images across. I've not seen Sean pop up any evening in the notes. I don't think, I can't remember. But if you're watching this evening, Sean, welcome and thank you for sending them in. Aysgarth Falls. I've been to these falls several times and they are always different. Either fall of water or not enough. 640. Oh, 640 shouldn't have nothing to do with it. Canon M5. Cow Close Falls, Buckton in the Dales. I saw this picture in one of the magazines and thought we should go and find it. Glad we did. Canon M5. The Humber Bridge at sunset. I like this image because it is, I think, the very first low light picture I had ever taken. On this one I have left the shutter speeds in, so it's f4 60th of a second at 400. This is the Leeds to Carlisle Railway Viaduct. Is known as Garsdale Head. I like this image mainly because of the colours. Canon M5. Mrs. Blackbird. I like this picture because I had seen nothing all day except starlings, jackdaws and male blackbirds. I just turned around and there she was, sat looking at me. I must admit I judged this one, and I just like the framing aspect, and it's just so clear, so it did do well in a recent competition. I love this sunset shot at Short Ferry, as it reminds me of social distancing. Canon M5. Thanks very much, Sean. Right, the next ones are Doreen's. So I'll just have another quick slurp. Otherworldly. In 2008, armed with a... This was another one that I tried cutting down a bit, but I just give you it to tell the story. In 2008, armed with a newfangled camera, which was a Nikon D40, I plucked up courage to join DCC. The only problem being I walked to the village hall, Dunholm, and found no one there. I tried again in March 2008, having joined DCC. She found where the old school was. I was busy in my studio. This is about the picture. I was busy in my studio, the top of the washing machine, creating my first composite competition entry. I like seed heads and science fiction, and to me this had an otherworldly look. And especially when you think of the magnification on that one. Next bite. Another landmark, 2016. After much resistance, I had given in and purchased a smartphone, an Aquarius X5. Whilst heading for the bus home in November, I spotted this. To my imagination, it was like a scene from Mordor. Mordor. I don't know what that is, but I'm sure a lot of you do. It was the demolition of Lincoln bus station. Mountain Hare. Moving on to November 2017, and after 3 Nikon cameras, I had returned to Olympus with an OM10 Mark II. It was my first photography holiday. It couldn't have been better. It was in the Cairngorms area. It's a magical place. I had great companions and lots of laughs and good instruction. One of the highlights of the holiday was the mountain hares. After instruction from Grahame, I ended up crawling up the peat gully to get this shot. I think by this stage it was becoming apparent to my DCC mates that I spent a lot of time laying down. Yes, by the end of a week with you, Doreen, we definitely got the feeling that you spend a lot of time laying down taking pictures. Turnstone. A few of us have a tradition of going on an expedition to Whitby in October. We like the challenge of the rain, high winds and snow. Greystone Stairs. January 2020. We have seen images of these steps many times. The judges can't make their minds up about the light. Some like it, some don't. Dryad. April 2020. I had been at home for a month shielding with my partner. Working from home, I found myself in a strange, chaotic world of changing roles. WhatsApp, online training, etc. I went for a walk every day and found calm looking for something to photograph. To me, these leaves catching the sun meant spring and fresh new life. Sue H. Thank you very much, Sue, for sending your images in. And all of these are on the same theme, but very, very different in each case. So Sue's collection is called Town Decorations. We can certainly see the colours and the decorations in the town. These were all taken in a small town in the Dordogne Saint Parado La Riviera. Sorry, Sue. Don't laugh. Travelling around and came across these whilst looking for some lunch. Not a soul about. Hadn't taken into account that everything closes for 2 hours. Certainly some great colours. We never made that mistake again. Now, I must admit, once we go to these places that we don't know, we do remember for next time. Difficult to choose as the whole town was covered from one end to the other. The decorations were all made from coloured, cut-out plastic bags. It's just another one up the street there. It's good how you've got the detail even in the shadow areas as well, Sue. So I like that. And a bonus image of a nice colourful red one in there as well. Just going to do one more. So, Tony, thank you very much, Tony M, for sending in your images this evening. Great selection, as is everybody else's. We start off with the oil rig anchored at Cromarty. This is a photo from a recent photo holiday with Grahame D. It's the first time I've seen an oil rig close up. I like the way it stands out against the mountains. Taken with Nikon D810. Yeah, although, just a bit of information, although this oil rig, Tony's got this great image of it, where we go in Cromarty is basically a graveyard for them, and within this area you can probably see anywhere up to 10, 15, 20 oil rigs all waiting to either be refurbished and taken out or to be scrapped, and they're all lining in the waterway. Corgarth Castle, excuse me. Another from a recent Links photo holiday with Grahame D. I like the crisp detail in this photo, taken with the Nikon D810. Tony does quite a bit of stage photography, so there is a 2 or 3 from that. Katie Markham, Adele. You can well see that that is right, can't you? You can see the look of Adele there. Taken at Baths Hall, Scunthorpe. Very difficult lighting at this show. Nikon D610. Nashville, Dominic Halpin. Taken at Skegness Embassy Theatre. Manual mode. I've photographed this band a few times now. The stage lighting changes continually. Nikon D610. Mario Combo, Elvis. A show from the Drill Hall, Lincoln. Nice venue to get round and get some good shots. Nikon D810. Dominic Halpin, lead vocals, guitar. Country night in Nashville. Tony went, for our pleasure, Tony went all the way to Nashville to get this picture. Oh no, hang on a minute. Taken at Skegness Embassy Theatre. Nice venue to photograph in, although a long way to a long way round to get the best angles. Taken with Nikon D810. Right, the next person is Richard F, and we shall be back with you all in a short while. What I'm just going to do is have a look at the some of the notes, because I can't see the notes as we've been going through them. So just for a couple of minutes. Yeah, you've been complimenting each other on the pictures. I've just seen Stephen Howells popped in. Steve, I sent you a note, an email about joining us on a Olympus night. So if you're still listening to me, if you could just let me know whether you want to join in with us, Steve, on an Olympus night on the cameras. Right, Doreen, John Applewhite, good evening, John. Who else is popped in? Complimenting each other. Caroline Oldham, don't think I welcomed you earlier. Doreen, Jill, Caroline, yeah, so clever, Michael. But Ray, Caroline, Graham, Doreen, Gail. Yeah, I've said good evening to everyone. I'm pleased you're all enjoying the images, which, as I can see, you're all complimenting each other on the images. So we'll break now. The time is 5:02. So if we can be back for about 5 past, somewhere around there, and we'll see you very, very shortly. So about a 15-minute break, and we shall see you all. I've just seen hi Gromit and Nick, so hi to you both, not welcome you both, so good evening to you both. Right, we'll see you in about 15 minutes. Catch you shortly.